I paid for everything: the apartment, restaurants, vacations. I thought I was making my girlfriend happy. Then I accidentally received a bank notification. She withdrew $15,000 from our account and transferred it to an unknown person. At that moment, I realized I was living with a scammer, and I decided she would pay dearly for her greed. I met Olivia 3 years ago at a charity fundraiser in downtown Chicago. She stood out in the crowd, not just because of her striking beauty, but because of the way she commanded attention. Her laugh was infectious, her stories captivating. When our eyes met across the room, I felt something I hadn't experienced in years. "Alex Bennett," I introduced myself, extending my hand. "Olivia Carter," she replied with a smile that would become my weakness. "Nice to meet you." That night, we talked for hours. She was smart, funny, and seemed genuinely interested in my life. As a successful software developer, I'd gotten used to people being interested in my wallet more than my personality. But Olivia was different, or so I thought. Our relationship progressed quickly. Within months, we were inseparable. She'd tell me about her dreams of starting her own interior design business, how her previous boyfriends had held her back, used her, even cheated on her. "I just want stability," she'd say, curled up against me on the couch in my downtown apartment. "I want someone who sees me for who I am, not what I can give them." The irony of those words would haunt me later. 1 year into our relationship, I suggested we move in together. My 3-bedroom apartment had plenty of space, and it seemed like the logical next step. "Are you sure?" she asked, her eyes wide with what I interpreted as disbelief at her good fortune. "I don't want to impose. I want you here," I assured her. "We're building a life together." She moved in the following weekend. I noticed she didn't bring much, just clothes, personal items, and a few decorative pieces she insisted would warm up the place. When I suggested we split the bills, she looked momentarily panicked. "I don't have much saved up," she admitted. "And if I'm going to start my business, I need to invest what I have in that." It made sense. I was making more than enough to cover our expenses, and I wanted to support her dreams. So I took on all the financial responsibilities: rent, utilities, groceries, date nights, weekend getaways. "It's just temporary," she promised. "Once my business takes off, I'll contribute equally." Months passed. Then a year. Her business remained perpetually in the planning stages. There were always reasons why she couldn't launch yet: the market wasn't right, she needed more connections, she was refining her portfolio. Meanwhile, our joint expenses kept increasing. She developed expensive tastes. The local Italian restaurant we frequented was replaced by upscale steakhouses. Weekend trips to neighboring states became vacations to Cabo and the Amalfi Coast. When I suggested more economical alternatives, she'd look disappointed. "Don't you want me to be happy, Alex?" Those words became a weapon, making me feel guilty for questioning her spending habits. So I stopped questioning. I worked longer hours, took on consulting projects on the side, anything to keep up with our lifestyle. Then came that fateful Monday morning, 18 months into our cohabitation. My phone pinged with a notification as I was heading into a meeting. Transaction alert: $15,000 withdrawn. Recipient: Mark Davis. I stared at my screen, confusion turning to disbelief. We had a joint account, my idea, to help her build credit and manage household expenses. I had deposited a significant amount for our upcoming trip to Hawaii. But $15,000? And who was Mark Davis? I called the bank, thinking it was fraud, but the representative confirmed Olivia had made the transfer in person, with proper identification. Throughout my workday, the questions multiplied. Was she in trouble? Did she need money for something she was afraid to tell me about? Or was there a simpler, more painful explanation? I left work early, my mind racing with scenarios. Our apartment was empty when I arrived. Olivia had mentioned shopping with friends, another frequent activity that seemed to yield few actual purchases despite significant expenses. Her laptop sat on the coffee table. We had an open device policy, no passwords between us, no secrets. At least, that's what I thought. I opened it, half expecting to encounter a password I didn't know. But there it was, her desktop, accessible with her predictable password, her birth date. I didn't know what I was looking for exactly. Bank statements. Email confirmation of the transfer. What I found was far worse. A messaging app was minimized in her taskbar. I clicked it, and my world collapsed. The conversation with M spanned months. I scrolled through message after message, each more devastating than the last. Alex is such a pushover. He thinks I'm setting up a business, but I've just been shopping and meeting you. He's convenient. I'll leave soon, but first I want to take everything I can. I'm playing my role, but you know who I really love. In a couple of months, I'll move in with you. He won't even understand what happened. There were pictures too, intimate ones sent to this M. Pictures taken in our home, sometimes while I was sleeping in the next room. The latest message thread was about the money. I transferred the $15,000 for the down payment. We're all set for the condo. Perfect, babe. Can't wait to have you all to myself. Does he suspect anything? Not a thing. He thinks we're going to Hawaii next month. By then, I'll be gone. My hand trembled as I set the laptop down. 3 years of my life. Thousands of dollars. Countless moments I thought were genuine, all a calculated charade. I felt physically ill, but beneath the nausea and shock, something else was building, cold, focused anger. I looked around the apartment. Everything of value was mine. The furniture, the electronics, even the art on the walls. She had contributed nothing but her presence, which I now recognized as a carefully crafted performance. I needed to act quickly. According to the messages, she was meeting M, presumably Mark Davis, that afternoon to finalize their condo purchase. They planned to move in together the following week, after taking as much from me as possible. First, I called my bank. I explained the situation and, thankfully, they took immediate action. The joint account was frozen pending investigation, and I transferred all remaining funds to my personal account. Next, I contacted my credit card companies. Olivia had authorized user cards for all my accounts. I canceled them immediately and requested new cards with different numbers. The apartment lease was trickier. We were both on it, but I had a good relationship with the property manager, Richard. I called him directly. "Rich, I need a huge favor," I explained the situation without melodrama, sticking to facts. He was sympathetic but cautious. "Alex, I can't just remove someone from a lease without their consent." "I understand," I said, thinking quickly. "What if I terminate this lease and sign a new one, just in my name? I'll pay any penalties." After some negotiation, he agreed. It would cost me, but it was worth it. By late afternoon, I had systematically dismantled the infrastructure of Olivia's scheme. She had no access to my money, no credit cards, and soon, no place to live. But that wasn't enough. The calculated nature of her betrayal demanded an equally calculated response. I found Mark Davis on social media through details gleaned from their conversations. He worked at a financial firm downtown, ironically, not far from my office. His profile showed a handsome man in his 30s, with an affinity for expensive watches and exotic travel. In one photo, I recognized the designer shirt I had bought Olivia for Christmas. I composed a message, revising it several times to ensure it struck the right tone. "Hello Mark, you don't know me, but I'm Alex Bennett, Olivia Carter's current boyfriend. I think there are some things you should know about the woman you're planning to live with." I attached screenshots of her conversations, not with him, but with someone she referred to as Jay, in older message threads. Messages remarkably similar to what she had written to Mark about me. J is just a backup plan. You know you're the only one I really care about. Alex is loaded and clueless. Once I get what I need from him, I'll be all yours. These messages were fake, created in a messaging app to mimic her writing style. A dishonest tactic, yes, but I felt past the point of ethical concerns. I was fighting fire with fire. Within an hour, Mark replied. Are you serious? This can't be real. I sent more screenshots, including one where Olivia discussed how she planned to use the money from Mark for a trip to Europe with Jay. I thought she was playing you, he wrote back. Turns out she was playing us both. And who knows how many others. We arranged to meet at an upscale restaurant downtown, Olivia's favorite, where I had made reservations for the following evening to celebrate our anniversary. Mark agreed to my plan without hesitation. He was as angry as I was, perhaps more so since he had just handed over $15,000. When Olivia returned that evening, she was glowing with excitement, carrying shopping bags from expensive boutiques, presumably for her new life with Mark. Hey babe, she greeted me with a kiss. How was your day? Interesting, I replied, amazed at my own composure. I made reservations for tomorrow night at Janelli's. Her eyes lit up. The place with the truffle pasta? What's the occasion? Do I need an occasion to treat my girlfriend? She hugged me tightly. You're the best, Alex. I don't deserve you. For once, we agreed on something. The next day passed with excruciating slowness. I went to work as usual, while Olivia texted me throughout the day about how excited she was for dinner. Each message twisted the knife, but I maintained the charade. That evening, she spent hours getting ready, emerging in a new dress I'd never seen before, likely purchased with my money for her new life with Mark. You look beautiful, I said, and meant it. Her physical beauty had never been in question, it was everything beneath the surface that had proven rotten. At the restaurant, the maitre d' led us to a private dining area in the back. As we approached the table, Olivia froze. Mark Davis sat there, a folder in front of him, his expression grim. Mark, she gasped, looking between us in confusion. What are you doing here? How do you know Alex? I pulled out a chair. Why don't you sit down, Olivia? We have a lot to discuss. What is this? Her voice was sharp with panic. Mark slid the folder toward her. Inside were printouts of her actual messages to him about me, along with bank statements showing the $15,000 transfer. You told me Alex was your roommate, Mark said, his voice steady. A gay friend who was helping you out while you got back on your feet after a bad breakup. She shook her head frantically. That's not. I never said. This is all a misunderstanding. Is it? I opened my phone and played a recording, Olivia's voice from a conversation I had secretly captured the night before. Just one more day, and we'll have everything we need, her voice echoed in the quiet dining room. Alex doesn't suspect a thing. The color drained from her face. You recorded me. That's illegal. Actually, Illinois is a two-party consent state, Mark said coldly. But I'm not pressing charges for my $15,000, which would definitely be illegal. I can explain, she stammered. I was confused, I made a mistake. Save it, I interrupted. While you were getting ready tonight, the property manager came by. I signed a new lease, just me. Your key won't work anymore. She stared at me in disbelief. You can't do that. My things are in these bags. I gestured to the maitre d', who wheeled in a luggage cart with 3 suitcases. I packed everything that was truly yours. The rest, the things I paid for, stay with me. Where am I supposed to go? Tears welled in her eyes, real ones, perhaps the first genuine emotion I'd seen from her in months. Mark stood up. Not my problem. The condo deal is off. Mark, please, she grabbed his arm. Everything I told you about Alex was true. He's controlling, jealous. Stop, he cut her off. I found your other conversations. The ones with Jay. Your backup plan. How many men are you playing, Olivia? She turned pale. My fabricated evidence had hit its mark. I don't know what you're talking about, she whispered. I think you do, I said. The police might be interested too. Financial fraud has serious consequences. It was a bluff. I had no intention of involving authorities, but she didn't know that. You're going to regret this, she hissed, mascara streaking down her cheeks. Both of you. Mark just laughed bitterly. Good luck with that. I've already contacted the bank about fraud charges. I signaled the waiter. There's a taxi waiting outside. Your belongings are loaded. The driver has been instructed to take you wherever you want to go, but you'll need to pay him yourself. With what? She cried. You cancelled all my cards. Not your cards, I corrected. My cards, which you were authorized to use. There's an important difference. She looked between us, desperation replacing anger. Please, I have nowhere to go. You should have thought of that before you stole $15,000, Mark said, gathering his things. Goodbye, Olivia. He nodded to me and left, leaving Olivia and me alone. Alex, she tried one more angle, reaching for my hand. We can work this out. I made a mistake, but I do care about you. I pulled my hand away. The mistake was mine, for believing you were who you pretended to be. She stared at me for a long moment, then grabbed her purse. You'll miss me. You'll realize what you've thrown away. No, I said with certainty. I won't. As she walked out, head high despite her ruined makeup and shattered schemes, I felt a complex mix of emotions. Relief, anger, sadness, but most surprisingly, a sense of liberation. I stayed at the table, ordered a glass of whiskey, and made a silent toast to lessons learned. Expensive lessons, to be sure, but valuable ones. The restaurant staff, who had been briefed on the situation, and generously tipped in advance, discreetly removed the untouched place settings and left me to my thoughts. Outside, I imagined Olivia facing the reality of her situation: no home, no money, no Mark, no me. Just 3 suitcases and a web of lies that had finally collapsed around her. What would she do now? Find another target? Return to a previous one? Or perhaps, though I doubted it, learn from this experience and change her ways? In the end, it didn't matter. She was no longer my concern. As I settled my bill and prepared to return to an apartment that was once again mine alone, I realized something unexpected. Despite everything she had taken from me, time, money, trust, I had reclaimed the most important thing. My freedom.